Hi, welcome back, guys. This is your friend. Cinnamon Roll, What If with another fiction. What if Deku the Rise of Quirkless Hero? Now, before starting, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. If you want more videos like this, now let's get into the fanfic. In this world, there are two types of people. One, those who have superpower, which is basically known as quirk, and other those who don't have quirk, who known as quirkless. There are 80% of people who have quirk and 20% are those who known as quirkless. And this, the story of a quirkless boy who will change the vision of people on quirkless people and became the greatest and inspired hero of all time. Opening theme Polaris. My Hero Academia Season 4. Izuku start walking toward a deserted factory with a neutral expression, and when he enter, he moved toward the stage where a mic is placed. Going toward the mic, he took a deep breath and starts singing. On that day, I swore I would keep you safe. It's a promise I have made in my heart. Music beats started pick up its beat, and then a bright light came backward showing past memories of him. And then Izuku turned into black silhouettes, and big sign came from behind shows My Hero Academia Project 20%. If I had to give my world to save a life, I would Izuku walking on road while carrying a sword on his waist. I'd sacrifice everything and wouldn't even think twice thinking about his past. All his memories of getting bullied by Kachin and his sword training with Asuka. Beats of drum showing multiple scenes of Izuku training with Asuka and some happy moments. Scene change. I'd offer it happily with a smile on my face. Izuku is standing in front of grave named Asuka Natsum born. 2176 died. 2225. I don't think I've ever felt this way before. A single tear slide from his left eye. A reason to live. He started moving toward UA. Scene change. I have found that I don't need to hide these scars. Showing League of Villain and some goons standing with an evil grin on their face. All my faults. They are making me strong, showing Izuku, Katsuki, Ochako, Kirishima, and the whole class, one is standing in line. They only give me reason to live on. Class wanna charge toward the villains. So today, I will wipe away every single tear. Showing Kirishima using his hard body quirk and beating the crap out of villain. Kaminari using his thunderbolt to zap his opponents. And it's true, I would give up everything for you. Bakugo using his explosive quirk to blasting his opponents. And whole class is fighting. Scene chained. So just please promise me that you won't give up just yet. Izuku standing on the stage with his mic and joining his hand and sung that line. On that day, I swore I would keep you safe, looking in front of camera and pointing his finger to us and sung that line. It's a promise I have made in my heart, pointing toward his heart and sing that line. Scene chain. Izuku playing electric guitar in the hall of deserted factory while rocking his head back and forth, and then scene change shows he is playing drum. Scene change. Every day somebody makes a sacrifice. That's why showing little Ochako with her parents who working hard to earn money for her daughter futures. We're able to continue on the fight and live our lives. Ochako open her eyes and look, she was holding Izuku hand, and he pass his big bright smile, and she blushed and pass a smile toward him. From the fear of losing, I am no longer afraid. Ochako standing with bravery toward the villains with Izuku. But that doesn't mean I've given up on all my dreams. Izuku holding her with his eyes toward the villain and toward them. I will stay, I won't run away and hide in the past. Showing Ochako using her zero-gravity quirk while lifting the villain in the air and using hand-to-hand combat move to beat them. Scene chain. I will become the me that I'm striving to be, showing Izuku singing while playing the guitar. Even if that is nothing more than a hopeful wish. I hope I can reach you. Even just a little bit. Izuku extending his hand forward as showing a sign of reaching while singing this line. Showing him playing his guitar and drums and split screen while rocking his head back and forth, and then he sing other line. If you're strong, I believe. You protect those in need. You don't rise above the weak. And the thing you should seek, showing Izuku fighting against the villains with his sword, slashing them and moving forward. Isn't gold victory? Maybe. That's just me blast occur in front of Izuku, which throw him backward on his back, and he lost his conscience. If I had to give my world to save a life, I would. But I'd never forget you. In his mindscape, he saw man pictures of his friend, family, Asuka, and in the last Ochako, who extend her hand toward him with a smile. And he grab her hand and start getting up. Scene change. Guitar and drum started picking its beat, and then Izuku's sword started shining and flame started erupted from his sword. Then Izuku opened his eye, and I turned into hot steel red color and picked up his sword and charged forward. So today, I will wipe away every single tear. And it's true, I would give up everything for you. So just please promise me that you won't give up just yet. On that day, I swore I would keep you safe. It's a promise I have made in my heart. Izuku burning every villain with his sword while slashing with it. Scene change. Even if the fading light we hold is all we know, Izuku and his class standing with all might in his strong version in front of leagues of villain, and a dark silhouettes stand behind the villain. Let's go. Izuku give a war cry and the charged forward and screen pause, showing their face with courage and bravery. Even Minata was showing courage to fight. Then beats of drum and guitar stared getting low, and then scene changed, show Izuku stand on the U. A building with a smile watching a sunset with Ochako, and Class 1A is standing behind him with the same smile watching sunset. Date January 6, 2226. Izuku Midoriya. A normal teenage kid who wake up in his room, and like a normal teen, he go to the bathroom and get fleshed up like usual and change his clothes. And he's wearing black pant, with a green shirt and dark blue jacket. But today our hero looks a little depressed and upset. Why? Let's find out. Midoriya walked toward his dining table, sit on his chair, and eat silently his breakfast without saying a word. Her mother notices his strange behavior, but then she remembers what day is today. After eating his breakfast, he moved toward his room and picked up his bracelet from his study table and put it on his wrist and walked toward the door. Mom, Izuku said. Yes, she said. I'm going outside. Where? Izuku turned toward his mom with a sad smile. To see Sensei, it's been a year, he said to her. Oh, she took a long break, then gives his a sad smile and said, Okay, come back soon, and also give my greeting to her. I will. Then Izuku moved outside of his house, and then he started walking toward a flower, which was near his apartment. He enters in the shop, and then met the owner of the shop. Ohio. Ohio. Sir, can I have some tulips, please? Yeah, sure. Shopkeeper went toward his garden and pick up some tulips from his garden. After buying flower, he start walking onward. While walking, he came to the park. This is the place where everything changed in my life, Izuku thought, and then started moving on his way while thinking of his past. Flashback. Little Midoriya, a 5-year-old boy who was lying on the ground with bruises and scars on his body. And why is he in this condition? Well, we all know why, because his best friend Kachin and his goon beat the crap out of him. Why is this happening to me, Izuku thought. After a few seconds, he heard a voice. Izuku tried to shift his head to look at the right direction, and he saw a lady who must be at the age of 34. Her name was Asuka Natsume. She lived near his apartment, and she was carrying groceries bag with her. She ran toward him. Oh my God, Midoriya, what happened to you? She looked at his while trying to pick him up on his feet. Izuku, who did this to you? She asked in anger way. How do I know? Well, because whenever she calls someone from their first name, that means she's upset. And nothing, Aunt Natsume, everything is fine. Bullshit. I know you're lying. Who is it? Is that Katsuki brat? I swear I gonna. No, please, don't do a Midoriya cut when pain erupted on his shoulder. On her instinct, she checked on his shoulder. She saw a dark bruise and burn mark. Shit. We need to dress it with bandage. Come on. Ma'am, please don't tell this to my mother, Izuku requested her. At first Natsume tried to reply him, but after looking his innocent face and eyes, she can't deny him. Okay, let's go. She helps him to walk to her apartment, and she started dressing his wounds and applying ointment on his burn marks. After treating his wounds, she moves toward her kitchen, took glass and fill it with apple juice, and then she moved in her living room, where Midoriya was sitting silently with his head down. Maybe he was crying when she was in kitchen. Here, she offered him the juice, and without saying a word, he took the glass and took a sip from his juice. Okay, Izu, now tell what happened, and I want truth, Natsume asked him very sternly. And then Izuku tell her the whole story of incident about how it started and the end, and he didn't hide any single fact from her. Why? Well, because when it's come to lying he sucks, and he can't lie to her, because after Inko she was like a second mother to her, and he can't lie to her mother. After listening, Asuka was feeling anger and disappointment. Anger for Katsuki for hurting and ganging up on him. And this is third time of the week, and disappointment on Midoriya. Why? Because he didn't try to fight back, and also after this much happening, he still admire and respect that brat, because he still think that Bakugo is his best friend. Ma'am, do you think I can be a hero? Izuku asked her. I don't know, she said him bluntly on his face without any emotions. Oh, Izuku said, while looking down and thinking maybe Kachin was right. Even Aunt Natsume don't believe in me. Izuku, why do you want to be a hero? Asuka asked her. What? Now Izuku was confused by her question. I mean, everyone want to be a hero. Some people want to be hero for money, fame, popularity, power. What's your drive to be a hero? First Midoriya looked at her and said, none of that, I just want to save people. A smiling, dependable, who help other and put smile on people's face just like All Might. After hearing his answer, it surprised her, and then she think maybe he's the one that I have been looking for. Then she gave him a smile and said, then, yes, you can be a hero. Really, Izuku said with his eyes shining with hope, because in his life, this is first time that someone has believed that he can be hero. Yeah, kid, your answer was not bad, except the last part. Why like All Might? Because he's cool and my idol. Well, it's good to have an idol, but why copy him instead? Try to make your identity. Flashback ending. Izuku walking on his way thinking about the past. After answering her question, she gives him an offer to train him, and he accepts her offer happily because he wants to become hero. But Izuku didn't know that his training was going to be like hell. In his training, he learned lots of things like taijutsu, hand-to-hand combat, bukijutsu, weapon technique. His training was hard for him at the age of 5, but still his never dies attitude. He always stand up on his feet and try his best to master it. And while doing his training, she always wore him weight, and after every next day she increase his weights. At first few months, he thought that he should quit his training, but still never give up because he want to prove the world. While walking on his way, he started thinking about that incident which happened in the age of 12, because when he started his training, it was just a hope to be a hero as quirkless. But after this incident, this hope turned into reality. Flashback, age 12. Itamori Village. Izuku asked in confusion. Yes, we are going to on trip of Itamori for few weeks, Natsume said to him while tuning her guitar. Author note. I know there's no need in between of the story, but maybe lots of you want to know who's Asuka Natsume. Well, here it is. Name: Asuka Natsume. Quirk: future Siduser can see some glimpse of the future, but instead of person, she can only see person silhouettes. So she knows what will happen in the future, but she does not know who will do it. Occupation: former martial art teacher. Former musician. Well, there also one more occupation, but I can't tell you right now. Just for a few moments, you'll find it in this chapter. So stay tuned. Now Izuku is 12 years old kid. Still same kid with cut freckles on each cheek. Same fluffy dark green hair. But now he's not the same skinny, weak, crybaby Deku anymore. After the 6 years of training, Izuku's body gets stronger, not in buff way. But you can easily see that his body looks stronger for kid at the age 12. Also, whenever Katsuki or his goons try to bully or beat him, he fights back for his self-defense. Well, he's still not able to beat Bakugo, but at least he can gives Katsuki a black eye as a memory of Deku will now fight back. Now our Izuku and Miss Natsume were sitting in her drawing room. "It's your final test," Natsume said. "But what about Mom, will she?" "Don't worry, I have already asked her permission. She approved me." "What?" "She didn't deny it." "Yeah, I just told her that we were going on a camping trip for a few weeks." "Oh, okay, so when do we leave?" "Tomorrow at morning 6 a.m. Oh, pack your bags." "Okay." After the discussion, I walked out of her apartment and moved toward my home and start packing for my camping trip. Next morning, I wake up at 5:30 a.m. and move in bathroom and get fresh. Take a bath and brushed my teeth for breakfast. I just made a PBJ sandwich and a glass of milk because according to Sensei, milk is good for calcium and strengthening our bones. After eating my breakfast, I took my bag and said bye to Mom and moved outside toward the bus stop and saw Sensei was waiting for me. Few moments later, I and Sensei were sitting in the bus for last 2 hours. In this journey, we both took a nap for half an hour because that bus trip was boring, extremely boring. After the bus ride, we finally reached our destination, a beautiful and peaceful Itamori village. Whoa, was the only word came out of my mouth because it was the most beautiful place as I have ever seen in my life. "Come on, Gaki, we have to move." "Hi, Sensei." After seeing the view, we moved to a motel, book a room, and put our bag on the table, and we moved out from motel and start trekking on mountain. "Okay, kid, have you ever heard the tale of the sacred warrior?" "Oh, you mean that story which you always told me after training?" "Yes, do you still remember it?" "Yes, it's a story about a warrior who was a weapons specialist. He was savior of humanity, who saves people from demons and darkness, and seal then in the depth of the underworld." "Correct. But do you know what happened after he sealed the demons?" No, you never told me what happened after it." "After sealing the demons, the hero was injured in the battle and on the verge of the death. But before he died, he stabbed his sword on rock and said to his friend, 'The demons are sealed in the underworld, but maybe the future the seal gets weak, or somehow the balance of light and darkness. Then you will find the new wielder of my weapon to become the symbol of protector, and he will save the humanity. Promise me that you and your generation will find him and train him to be the defender." "I will." Then the warrior looks at his carrier blade. "My sword can only be raised by that person whose heart is clean and his soul is pure, who thinks of other before his own, and that kind of person willing to sacrifice himself to protect other." That was his last word of his life. "So?" Izuku asked. "The man who gave him the promise to find the successor was Akira Natsume, my great-great-grandpa." "Oh, wait, what?" "Yeah, the story is true, it's not a mythical legend." "Okay, now it was a little bit shocking to know about the story, which you have been hearing is true story, and it pop up 2 questions in my head. My first question was, why is she telling me right now? And so, Sensei, if the story is true, then where's the sword?" "Right there." While talking to each other, we didn't realize over the top of the mountain. She pointed toward an ancient shrine. "Let's go," she said. Without wasting any time, we marched toward the shrine and opened the door of the shrine, and we saw a blade trapped in a crystal slab. "Place your hand on the slab," Asuka said to Izuku, and he do as she said to him. When he placed his hand on the crystal slab, a powerful light surged from it, and then everything went white. Not soon paf. When Midoriya put his hand on the slab, a light came out from it, and then Izuku gets slumped on the ground, but his hand were still stuck on the crystal. "Okay, kid, it's up to you. Let's see if my vision and prophecy are true or not," Natsume thought. Izuku mindscape. Where am I? Look around my surrounding. There was nothing on instead of white background. Finally, the chosen one has arrived. A came from behind, and before he could turn around he felt his instinct kicked and jump right side. And he saw an iron fist connected to place where he was standing. And without saying anything that person charged toward him with his fist to his face. And without thinking Izuku ducked from the fist and went for a low kick to make him fall. But the old man jumped from that kick and take a step backward, get into his dragon-style stance, and Izuku get on his feet and stand in his own stance. The strong fist style inspired by Rock Lee fighting style. "Who are you?" Izuku asked. "It doesn't matter, if you want to know then." He looks toward Izuku with a smirk. "You have to beat me, kiddo," said, while release killing intent. It made Izuku flinch a little bit, but it didn't scare him. "Not bad, kid. Let's see what you got," said by the old man. He sprinted toward Midoriya, but he dodged from it his kick, and then Izuku throw a punch at him. But the old man swat his punch and shoot his left palm on his chest. But Izuku grab his wrist, and then his right punch on his face. But the old man stop his punch before it could reach to his face. "Ha, not bad, Gaki, you have sparks to fight," he said to him after they both leave each other and jump backward. "Kid, what style are you using right now?" "Huh. It's called strong fist style." That a new style, and it stand to his name, kid, you got a power pack punch. Tell me who taught you." "My master." "Nice, standing in his dragon stance. Let's see." Without saying anything, both launch toward each other. Old man tries to slash his with dragon claw, but dodge rapidly every move except list swipe slash on his shirt. Midoriya was taken back from his hit, but he didn't lose his focus and charged him with multiple punches, but the old man blocked them with his palms, and then he shoot his kick toward old man chin. But the old man catch his kick before it could reach on his chin. But Izuku didn't lose his momentum and jump in air and hit him with the enzigiri kick on his face. After getting hit by the kick, the old man using that momentum and hit Izuku with 360 spin right hook on his face. Both person fall down, and then they both start getting up on their feet. Whoa. That punch was power pack. It's feel like I was hit by a truck. I have to be careful. By judging him, it looks like he was a professional martial artist. His stance, agility, power is perfect balance. If I have to win it, then I have to play it seriously and safe. Not bad, Gaki. Your kick was powerful and your fighting style is impressive, old man said, while rubbing his bruised cheek where he kicked him. After rubbing his cheek, his bruise vanished from his cheek, like it was never existed. Your taijutsu is good, I'll mark it to 7.9 out of 10. But let's see how your bukajutsu is, said by old man, and then he stopped his feet on the ground, and then two wooden kendo swords emerge from the ground. Each sword emerge in front of them, and then Izuku and the old man picked up their swords. Izuku stand in Seigen stance and old man stand in Sha no Kami stance. Hey Gaki, what's your aim in your life? I want to be a hero. Oh, so then, old men rushed toward him with a strike, but Izuku blocked it with his sword, and they both tried to push each other. Why do you want be a hero? Because Izuku tilt their sword right side and then drag his kendo stick on his stick for a diagonal slash, but old man ducked. He used that momentum and leap in the air and did a diagonal 360 spin in air and strike downward, but the old man blocked it. I want to save people, and Izuku pull his sword and then start hitting him with multiple strikes and the blocking all the hits, but in the last move Izuku hit him on his stomach. The old man feel the pain, but Izuku didn't stop, and then hit him on his arm and disable him and said with scream, prove this whole damned world that quirkless people can also be a hero. And oh, sorry not to inform you that while training with Asuka, he also learned how to curse. So for the notification, I future chap he could curse some word. That's it, stay tuned and please enjoy and please follow and review it. While saying those words, you can easily see the dedication and determination in his eyes, and the old man can also see it. Not bad, Gaki, old man said to him. Then he smirked and said, but old man picks up his sword and blurred out from there. Izuku started looking here and there, but he couldn't find him. Then a voice came from behind. It's not enough to beat me. Izuku's eyes were widened, and he tried to turn around, but before he could, the old man hit him on his right rib. Izuku screeched in pain, and the old man slashed upward and hit on his arm, which caused him to lose his kendo stick, and then hit him with Spartan kick on his chest, and catch Izuku's sword, and put both swords on Izuku's neck, and Izuku was on his knees. There was a moment of silence, and there was no sound there except of breathing coming from old man and Izuku Midoriya. Give up, Gaki, old man said to him. No, I can't give up after all these years training, and coming this far I can't. I won't let him win, Izuku thought, and then give a smirk to old man which made him step back. Sorry, Izuku ducked, and then hit him with standing spinning heel kick on his face which made his take a step back to regain his balance. But Izuku said, and then hit him with a straight punch on his gut. That old man tried to hit him with the stick, but Izuku moved right side and put his foot on the kendo stick, and then hit a palm strike on his left shoulder, which made him to leave Midoriya kendo stick. But Izuku didn't pick it up. Izuku hit him with left forearm on his chest, doesn't, and hit him with a spinning back fist on right side of face under his ear. Old man tried to use his other kendo stick to strike him, but before he could hit him, Izuku punch on his wrist to make him drop his kendo sword in Mai. Then Midoriya grabbed the sword in mid-air, and then hit him with a leg sweep made him fall on his back, and then he point kendo sword on his neck, and he said, dictionary. There was a moment of silence. He did it. He beat him. After a few seconds the old man start chuckling, and then the chuckling turned into a laugh, not in evil or lunatic way, and then get up on his feet, and then he start shinning and all his wounds and bruises start vanishing like they never existed. Finally, after 2000 years after the sacred warrior, some give such a great battle. Izuku said dumbfoundedly, because he didn't know how to react at this moment, and he just said only a word which came in his mind. Thank you, Ojasan, who are you? Oh yeah, before the introduction. Let me old man put his hand on Izuku's head, and then his body starts shinning, and then all Midoriya bruises start healing, and all marks get vanished. Whoa. Hey, what y'all think? Ojasan Izuku tried to talk, but before he could say anything he heard. Graya Aji. Izuku was shocked, and took a step back, and then a blinding bright light flashed there, which made Izuku cover his eye. And when he reopened his eye, he saw 7 different serpent dragons flying there. First dragon was in red color, with golden whiskers and flames were erupting from his hair on his body, and his eyes were green color. Second dragon was in blue color, with dark blue whiskers and water was floating around his body, and his eye were green color. Third dragon was in light yellow color, with yellow whisker and sparks were emitting from his body, and his eyes were same as other dragon. Fourth dragon was in brown color with brown whisker, and instead of hair, there were rocks on his back. Fifth dragon was in white color with white whisker and powerful wind was coming out from his body. Sixth dragon was in icy blue color with blue whisker, and his back was covered with ice and cold steam coming from his nose. The seventh dragon was different from other, because he has 2 heads on his body. One head was white and other was black, and his body was divided in black and white color. He has a burning passion to achieve his goal and prove the world, said by the red dragon. He is unstoppable like a river, said by the blue dragon. His willpower strong and sturdy like a mountain, said by the brown dragon. His agility and reflexes are fast like lightning, said by the yellow dragon. His flow of movement is perfect like a wind, said by the white dragon. In any difficult he knows how to stays cool, said by icy blue dragon. He has the perfect balance of light and darkness, said by the twin head dragon. He is the chosen one, said by the dragon together. What, said by Izuku dumbfoundedly. There a moment of silence, and then laughter emerged from old man, and he said, Oh, worry not, Midoriya, I explain it to you. My name is Akira Natsume, protector of the carrier blade and head of the Natsume clan. Wait, how do you know my name, and if you're Akira then? Yes, I am your master's grade, Great-grandpa, Izuku Midoriya. Hey, how do you know my name? Izuku asked. Well, this is your mindscape, and I have seen everything about you, your training, and your dedication. Kid, you came from a long journey to achieve your destiny. My destiny. You'll ask all about this to your master. It's time for the ceremony, old man said. And then he snapped his finger, and then a blindly bright flashed in the dimension. And when the light was gone, then the whole scenery turned into a king's hall. And there was 8 thrones on which 7 dragons were sitting on their throne, and 1 throne was vacant. Akira stepped forward in traditional warrior outfit and says, Izuku Midoriya, you are the chosen one for the wielder of the carrier blade. This blade is one of the most powerful weapons, and it could be used to defend the humanity and the light, or it could be used for the destruction. With the permission of the 7 prime element dragons, you chosen one, I gave you the carrier blade. Akira put his arm forward. Then a light flashed, and when it faded away it turned into a sword in stealth. And you can see it in profile pic of this story. Izuku bowed on his knee and put his hand forward. Then Akira placed the sword on his hand, and then the red dragon said, Izuku Midoriya, by looking your past and your life, I sense a passion and determination of fire to achieve your goal and the sense of true justice. I, the fire dragon, Inferno, gives you the power of fire and fire manipulation. Use my power to burn the evil and provide light to the world. After saying it, Inferno shoots a red beam from his mouth toward Izuku, and then he started shining in red color. When the light faded, his hair and eye color turned into flaming red color, and his sword also turned into red sword with fire blazing on the blade. And without thinking, he starts swinging his blade and do some moves with it. And then he put his blade on his shoulder and stand in his pose just like Dante from Devil May Cry. After getting power from Inferno Dragon, all other dragon introduce themselves and give their power to him. The name was Ariel the Sea Dragon, who gave him the power of water and water manipulation, and his appearance was blue-colored hair and his eyes. Boulder the Earth Dragon, who gave him the power of earth and its manipulation, and his hair and eye color changed into brown color. Thunderous the Lightning Dragon, who gave him the power of lightning and its manipulation. Cyclone the Wind Dragon, who gave him the power of wind and its manipulation. Blizzard the Ice Dragon, who gave him the power of ice and its manipulation. Zorlok the Yin and Yang Dragon, who gave him the power of light and darkness. After getting the powers of the element dragon, Akira Natsume stepped forward and said, Well, Izuku, now you got the power of dragons, and now you have to choose the weapon. Huh. Young Midoriya, we all dragons have given you 5% of our power to you, said by Inferno. And by obtaining our weapons, you can use 15% of our power, said by Ariel. And you can choose only 3 weapons, said by Thunderous. So choose wisely, Shonen young kid, said by all the dragons together. After hearing them, Izuku asked, Wait, if I choose 3 weapons, then what about others? Well, after choosing your weapon, you have to unlock then by improving your powers and gaining experience. So which one? After listening that word, and then Izuku went into his muttering mode, or should I say, nerd mode. And something never change. Okay, so think. If I want the weapon of the element dragon, then I have to think about the situation. In fighting, I need some offensive, and I think fire and lightning can be useful. And for rescue, I think water. And also when it comes to speed, lightning can be useful. The mutter. Well, I thought it was just illusion of memory, but he mutter a lot, said by Blizzard Dragon. For you guys, he's muttering, but for us, it show his great wisdom and strategic ability, said by Twin Head Dragon. Then Akira interrupts him, Midoriya Shonen. Oh sorry. Well, I have made my decision, I'll take weapon of fire. Water and lightning dragon, Izuku said. As you wish, all the dragon except fire, lightning and water dragon. Inferno said, Izuku, step forward with your sword. Izuku do as he was said. Then Inferno closed his eyes, and then the fire power surged from sword, And then his sword blade convert into a big board one-sided edge sword. It was in red color, and it has a dragon was emblem on it when its transformation was completed. When the edge of the touched the floor, it makes a crack on it. Whoa, cool, Izuku said with fascinating. It's called Fire Smasher. This blade is made for smash and slash the evil force, said by Inferno. Izuku then grab its handle with his both hand, because it was heavy, and then start checking the weapon, and the swing it, and the weapon was releasing fire from it. Arigato, Inferno-san. Inferno gives a smile to him, and then he vanished, and the Fire Smasher turns back into Carrier Blade. After leaving the hall, Ariel the Ocean Dragon came in front of him, and then she closed her eyes, and then Carrier Blade shine in sea blue color, and then it converted into a trident. Its color was blue, and its triple tips were in light blue color, and it has a blue dragon emblem. It's called Ocean Trident. This trident has the ability to shoot and manipulate water at the user's wills. Izuku started spinning the trident in his hands, and then start doing moves with it, and in the end, he put the trident in straight position and looked forward to Ariel. Arigato, Ariel-san. Ariel gives a smile to him, and then he vanished, and the ocean trident convert back into sword. After leaving the hall, Thunderous the lightning dragon came in front of him, and then he closed her eyes, and then Carrier Blade shine in bright yellow color, and then it convert into a very sharp and pointy spear in yellow color, with a dragon emblem on it. It's the lightning spear. It helps you to defeat and vanish evil in one zap, said by Thunderous Spear. Izuku started spinning the spear in his hands, and then start doing moves with it, and in the end, he put the spear in stabbing position and looked forward to Thunderous. Arigato, Thunderous-san. And just like other dragon, he gave a smile and vanished, and the spear converted back into Carrier Sword. So, this is it, Midoriya Shonen. Arigato, Akira Ajasan. Mention not Gaki. Before you leave, I have something for you, Akira said. And then he closed his eyes and held his hand. Then a light of orb came, and then it rushed toward him and hit him on the chest. And then his arm and feet start shining brightly, and when the light vanished, his hands were armed by silver gauntlet, and his legs were armed by silver boots. What are these? These are my taijutsu gauntlet and boots. By judging your taijutsu, I would like gift you these gauntlet, and just like your sword, you can use element powers, said by Akira-san. But don't you think it's a little bit? I mean, you gave me lots of weapon, and how will I manage? Akira gave a smile and said, Don't worry, Shonen, you'll manage. I know, and also this. He throws a bracelet. Izuku catch it and see that it's a dragon bracelet. Its band was black leather and a little silver dragon head on it. Izuku gives a question look to Akira, and then Akira said, Wear it, and then say return. Izuku did as he was said. When he said return, the bracelet's dragon's eyes started shining, and then dragon opened his mouth, and the sword and his taijutsu gauntlet and boots turned into orb of light and moved toward the bracelet's mouth, and then it closed his mouth, and its eyes turned back normal. Whoa, what was that, said Izuku. It's called Carrier Bracelet. It helps you to carry your weapon anywhere, and whenever you want your weapon, just call its name. It will give you weapon, Akira said to him with a smile. Arigato, sir. I won't disappoint you, and Dragon, Izuku said after doing a bow. And before you leave, I have a lesson for you. Akira took a step toward him with a neutral expression. What? Before Izuku could complete his sentence, he got a slap on his cheek by him asterisk. Asterisk Chapahunt at asterisk. Izuku was shocked and taken from his slap. He put his hand on his slapped cheek and looked toward him. Sir? Remember this slap. It's a lesson and a proof about that you are not invincible, and in the world there might be someone who could be greater and powerful than you, and never let you power make you arrogant. And don't rely on your weapon, because weapon docent makes you powerful. It's the wilder who makes it strong, and always respect other and your weapon, Akira says to him with a teacher tone. Izuku's eyes were filled with tear, not with the pain, but with pride and happiness by learning the lesson. and then he get on his knees and bow in front of him. Arigato sensei. I will remember this lesson, and I will never misuse these weapons, and I will stand for weak and innocent people, said by Izuku while crying. Akira gave a smile and put his hand on his shoulder and pick him up on his feet. I know, Izuku Midoriya, now go and fulfill your destiny. Hi. After saying that the whole dimension star shining in white color. Farewell, Shonen. Then everything went blank. Natsume Puff. It's been an hour while waiting here. Midoriya was still in his unconscious state, so I thought of doing meditation. After a few minutes waiting, a bright light shined in the shrine. It was so bright that even I couldn't see anything except of a silhouette standing there, and I know who it is. He did it, I thought. End of Puff. After the light vanished, the crystal slab and sword was gone, and Midoriya was standing there with a smile and showing his bracelet and those memorable words that he said, I succeeded, sensei. Flashback, age 12 end. After getting the powers, Midoriya doubled his training and also his training weights, and in starting 6 months of training, he mastered all elements powers, and he also mastered his primary fire, water and lightning weapon. But he couldn't able to unlock any other elements weapons. But still he can feel that he will activate then in few months. While walking on his way, he finally reached his destination. The graveyard. While training and spending time with her was the greatest things that have ever happened with him, like a movie, anime and manga. But like every story, it came to its end. Flashback, age 13, Izuku POV. It's been a year since the Idomori, and my training on weapon was going perfectly. But one day in training, Sensei fell unconscious. I don't know what happened to her, so I called my mom to bring her car, and we took her to hospital. While doctor checked on her, we waited outside of her room when doctor came from room. Doctor, what happened? Is she's all right? Tell us. Are you patient's family? No doctor, we're her neighbors, said by mom. I'm sorry to inform you that she's suffering from brain tumor. There was a moment of silence. I don't know how to react in this situation. I thought maybe I have heard wrong. Maybe it could be a mistake. What? My mom was also shocked after hearing the news. Yes, as you can see this. The doctor shows the CT scan of her brain and explain us everything about her condition and tell us another heartbreaking news that she's only have 2 weeks. Time skip after a week. After a week, I doubled my training, start doing night training, doing extra sets of sword strikes, extra taijutsu training, and extra meditation. Why? To forget the pain in my heart, to forget about that news, and to forget about that she only have 7 days. But I can't. I can't. How much I try my best, I can't. I fucking can't. Ha begyo, I yell and punch the concrete floor, and I made a crack on it. Blood was flowing out of my knuckles. But this pain was nothing to that pain. After the training, I moved toward my backpack and pull out some bandage and put on the wounds on my knuckle, and then pulled out my dragon bracelet from my bag and put it on my wrist. When I reached in my home, I put my bag on my table and to the bathroom and took a bath, and after taking bath, I moved toward dining table when mom has already placed dinner on the table. And I ate it silently without saying or asking anything and looked toward the clock. It was 6:57 p.m. Izuku. Yes, mom, I said neutrally and without making any eye contact. I think you should go and meet Natsume-san, my mom said to me hesitantly. I stopped eating and stayed in that position for a few seconds. My eyes were starting filling with tears, and I tried to hold back my emotion. I'll go tomorrow, I said her while my hair was covering my eyes. That's what you said to me yesterday, Izuku. I know it's hard for us, but... I didn't let her finish her sentence. I just get up from my chair, and without thinking, I just wore my Reed Snickers shoes and ran outside toward the hospital. I can't take any more. After a few moments, I reached in the hospital, and then I asked receptionist about her room, and after knowing her room no. I ran toward her room, and when I entered her room, I saw her sitting on a chair and looking the night sky out of the window. Does she turn around and she give me a smile? I was just standing there like a statue and my hair were covering my eyes, and then she says those words. "Oh, Izuku, how's training going on?" she asked me. After hearing those words, I started trembling. I tried to control my feeling and tries to answer her, but I can't. "Izuku, I can't take this anymore." I ran toward her and fall on my knees and put my head in her lap, and I cried. I know Sensei used lectures me about not crying and men's never cry. But today I can't control it. I just can't. While I was crying, I feel her hand patting my head, little bit wetness on my head. When look upward, I saw her eyes were filled with tears, and I just hugged her, and we both cried together for an hour. After crying, I took a chair and sit in front of her. Why? Why is it happening to us? I asked while lowering my head. Kid, life is a bitch. It always shows something that we never expected from it, Sensei said to me. And then there was a moment of silence in there, and then, "Hey kid, remember when you beat my great-grandpa in a duo? And when you were standing in Dragon Hall?" "Yeah." "Tell me, how many throne and dragon were there?" I looked at her and said, "There were 8 thrones and 7 dragon were present." "Good. Now tell me, Gaki, don't you? It's a little bit funny that there were 8 throne and 7 dragons," she said to me. "Maybe that 8th throne was your grandpa's." "You're wrong, kid. There's no human has ever born to sit on those divine throne." "So," and then I gasp, "the 8th throne means—" "That's right, Gaki. There's an 8th dragon." "What?" "Yes, at first I thought it was just a myth. But after hearing your story and doing some research, I found that there is an 8th dragon, the dragon of gold Indra." "So where it is?" "I don't know." And then there was a moment of silence. She again looked outside of window and then said, "Izuku, do you remember what I taught you? It's okay to be scared, but never let it controls you. And arrogance is a bitter enemy for a warrior. Sensei, what's meaning of it?" And she ignored my question. "And never let people tells you who you are, instead tell them who are you." And Sensei, what's meaning of it? Just tell me. Come on, it's the last and my favorite one. I took a deep sigh and said, "Think like L. Kindness like Tanjiro. Determination like Astai and Rockley. Strength like Saitama and Inosuke. Never give up attitude like Naruto. And fight like Levi." Well done, kid, you remember it. Flashback, age 13 and third person POV. Midoriya was standing in front of her grave. Asuka Natsume. Born 2176, died 2225. A great friend and a great teacher. Midoriya put the flowers on her grave and stand still there for a while. Then a single tear slid down from his cheek. "I miss you, Sensei." It's been a week since Izuku have been gone to meet her sensei grave, and today is Monday, which means the school day. Time, 7 am. Izuku was walking on his way to school. While walking, he heard a sound of crash and explosion. What the Izuku ran toward the scene. He saw a villain who looks like a dinosaur. Growl roared by the dinosaur, and then his size started increasing and starts smashing cars. "Look, it's Kamui Woods," yelled by the civilian. Izuku looked toward the hero, who was standing in his hero pose, and then he took out his notebook and pen to write down the notes in his quirk analyzes. Kamui Woods. His quirk is wood bending. He can shoot his woods towards his opponents and use it as a shield, both offensive and defensive. He could be a great fighting hero or could be a great rescue hero. Weakness. He can't fight against fire quirk. Izuku wrote the information in his notebook and looked toward the battle where was saying his hero dialogue. "Oh, for the love of Kami, please stop showing yourself cool and stop that freaking villain," furiously thought by Izuku. Why? Because here Master taught him that, in the battle, the fighter should only focus on the fight, not on taunting on them, because it will give a chance to your opponent to strike back at you. And if you want to taunt, then at least use few words or taunt when your opponent is in weak condition. After finishing his dialogue, Kamui would shoot his woods toward the villain, but before it could reach Cannon. Before villain could notice, he got a powerful kick on his face. What the hell was that? Izuku asked himself. Look, yelled by a random civilian. Izuku saw a woman was wearing a tight spandex in cream color, with mix of purple color and purple horn on her head. This villain really suits my formal debut. She picked up villain's leg and looked toward the crowd while showing her butt. My name is Mount Lady. Pleasure to meet you, she said while winking seductively toward the media who were present there. Izuku start writing her info. Mount Lady, a rookie hero, quirk gigantification, can easily change her shape of her body. Weakness. Izuku looked toward her while she's tying up the culprit and doing poses and thank you toward media. Weakness. She's a show-off and a biggest spotlight, which one of the most thing that Izuku hate that is showing off, because these types of heroes doesn't care about people's safety. They only care about their money, fame, and spotlight. After finishing his note, he started walking toward his school. Time skip. Izuku was sitting in his classroom, ignoring his classmates and studying his analysis notes. Come class, you're middle school senior. It's time you started thinking seriously about your future, said by homeroom teacher. Izuku gave a glance toward him. I'll be handing out printouts on your desired life course, said by the teacher while slamming the printouts on his table, and then he threw them in air. You all want to be heroes, don't you? Then whole class started hooting and shouting while showing their quirks. Izuku took a deep sigh. Is it a class or a damn fucking circus? Thought about it. Then he pulled out headphones from his pocket, which were connected with his Walkman. He put it on his ears and play some pop music. You can't compare me to these losers' weak-ass quirks. Come on, sir, said by Katsuki. The whole class, except Izuku, focuses toward him and start booing him. You got a big mouth, Katsuki, said by the random student. Bakugu, you're applying for you? A high, aren't you? Asked by teacher, which make all students silent. Pin drop silence. Even it catch Izuku attention. Why everything gets silent? Think, while turn volume down. Yep, Bakugu then jump on his table like a monkey. I got on my mock test, and I'm the only one at the school who got a chance, and I'm gonna be that hero who surpass All Might. Surpass the All Might. Izuku tried to hold his laughter on his declaration. That's a joke of the year. Man, thank by Izuku. When he's about to turn up the volume. About UA. Hey Izuku, aren't you also applying there too? This statement made everyone silent again, and they turned toward him. Here we go. Izuku turned the volume up and get back reading his notebook. The whole class erupted in laughter while pointing toward him. You must be kidding, right? Yeah, a quirkless like him in UA. Stop joking, sir. Now most of the people were thinking why they are laughing on him, because he never shows them his powers and weapon to them. For people, Izuku Midoriya is a quirkless boy. Why? Because he promised her sensei that he will not use his powers for unnecessary reasons, only use them when they were needed in a situation. Izuku ignored them and only focusing on his notebook. Deku, yelled by Bakugu, and tried to slam his explosive on his table, but before he could slam it, Izuku pulled back his notebook from his table. You think you can beat me by applying in the most prestigious hero school in Japan? You piece of quirkless shit, said by Bakugu, but Izuku silently ignored him, and it made Bakugu more pissed. Answer me, yelled by Katsuki. Then Izuku simply removed his earphone from his ears, and then put his pinky finger in his right ear to clean it. Huh, did you say something? Izuku said. You, Katsuki said, while fuming with the anger and little crackling sound coming from palms. That's enough, Bakugu. Go back to your seat, said by teacher. Bakugu returned to his seat. This isn't over yet, Deku. Time skip. After the school was ended, Izuku was about to put his analysis book. This isn't over. Deku. Katsuki came in and snatched his notebook. Give it back, Kachin. Instead of giving back, he burns his notebook. He burned his notebook with his quirk and threw it out of the window. Izuku's expression were neutral, but he was gripping his pencil very tightly. Even his knuckles turned white. You know what they say about all the top heroes, what they had in common. They could all say this about their school year, that I came from an average municipal middle school. And I want to make sure the term you, a graduate, maintains the same level of it, and I'm perfectionist by nature. So Katsuki put his hand on his shoulder and smoke started coming out from his shoulder. What I'm saying is Katsuki gave a fake smile. Forget about UA, nerd. At first he burned my notebook. Okay, cool down. And now he's threatening me not to apply in my dream school. Oh hell no, Izuku thought furiously, and his hair were covering his eyes. Just leave him. He doesn't have guts to reply you, said by the random student. Well, master said that I can't use powers. But she didn't say anything about my normal fighting moves. Izuku looks toward him with neutral face. What? Got something say? Deku. Nothing, said with a smile. Goo. Before he could complete words, Izuku hit him with a straight punch in his face, and his expression turned from neutral to angered. Because Izuku grabbed his same hand, which was placed on his shoulder, and he flipped him same like judo takedown move over his shoulder. Katsuki tried to use his right hand for explosion, but Izuku swat his arm, and then stomp on his stomach, and then grab his head and slam it on the floor, and put his right knee on his left arm, and left hand on his right arm, and right hand griping his head, and Izuku has pinned Katsuki on the ground. That would be waste of time, Izuku finished his sentence. Now, everyone in class were shell-shocked by the incident. Izuku just beat Katsuki. A quirkless kid beat him. But the most shocked person was Bakugo, because in the past he might able to punch him. But he never did something like this. Katsuki tried to move his arm, but couldn't even flinch his arms. Oh, by the way, Izuku looked toward his classmates, who were standing still in shock. Who was talking about guts, said with a smile, and also leaking some little bit of killer intent toward them, which made them more scarred. So-called heroes, Izuku think, while looking at their scarred face. It's not like Izuku was enjoying it. But these are the same people who were laughing on him when teacher talk about him applying in UA. Tit for tat. Humph, Katsuki tried to say something, but Izuku's hands were griped on his mouth area to prevent him. Izuku tried to talk his other classmates, but Katsuki was constantly making noise, which made Midoriya irritate. He pulls his right hand from his face. Deku. *chahapatat*. Izuku slapped him hard on his face. SHHHH. Kachin, can't you see? I'm trying to talk with them, Izuku said, while pointing toward his classmates. If you think Izuku pinned Katsuki on floor was shocking, then the slap just made them pissed in their pants. But that doesn't stop Bakugo. Stupid. You bloody mother. Before he could say something else, Izuku punched him on his nose 3 times, and when he hit him with third punch, he stuck his fist on his face, while blood was dripping from his face. I said don't interrupt me while I'm talking, Izuku said with rage in his voice, and directing his killer intent toward him. Now, Bakugo was scarred. For the first time in his life, he was scarred of him. What the hell is this, Bakugo was thinking, while a little bit of tears were dripping from his eyes, and he stays silent. Good. Izuku turned from his raged mode to normal mode, and looked toward them. Now who is talking about guts? Can he please step forward? No one dared to step forward. Even the student was standing behind the students, and Izuku already knows who said those words, but he played along with them. Well, if he already left, then please convey my message to him that I have so many guts. And so much that even I fuck the shit out of him, and Izuku looked toward Bakugo. You, listen to me very carefully, Baku bitch. I have enough with your shit. You can badmouth about me, my lifestyle, but no one can say something bad about my dream, my goal, my family and my loved ones, and if you ever try to mess with me. Dude, Izuku moved toward his ear and whispered, that would be your fatal mistake of your life. After saying that, he released him and moved toward his table, put his pencil in his bag, and put his bag on his back and moved forward, while Bakugo was still lying on the floor with the shock of what happened. While walking toward the door, he stopped and turned toward him and said, "A piece of advice. Before try to become a great hero, try to become a good person, bitch." Izuku then started walking outside of his class. When he left the class, all the students starts whispering. What was that? It might be a dream. Holy shit. While whispering, they heard sound of deep breath. When they turned toward the source, they saw Katsuki was trying to stand on his feet, and he was shaking with anger and his eyes were bloody red. Deku. Katsuki breath gets heavier, which was scarring the students, and they run outside of the classroom. Hanena, yelled by Bakugo, and launch a big explosion, which burns every table and seats and broke the glass of windows. At the same time, Izuku walked outside of his school and the walk toward the fish pond where his half-burned notebook were burned. He shooed the fishes who were eating his notebook and picked it up. Oh, thank God, only cover and first page was burned, Izuku said, while examining his notebook. Then he looked toward the fishes. Then he ripped the burned cover from his note and throw it into pond, and the fish start eating them. Well, at least my notebook filled someone's stomach, Izuku. While thinking, then he heard an explosion occur in a classroom and the sound of windows breaking. But he knew who did that, so he didn't turn toward him and walk forward toward the gate. Tit for tat, Baku bitch. Tit for tat, Izuku said, while walking outside of his school and put his earphones and start playing pop music. Izuku walking toward his home from an alley, which was a shortcut for his home with his half-burned notebook. Okay, so, after 10 months, a entrance exam will start. And in these 10 months, I have to train hard so I could pass. And let's see, I have mastered fire, water and lightning elements and its weapon, and according to my gut feeling, I think I'm very close to unlock wind weapon. So then, while thinking all these stuff, he didn't notice that a sludge type of thing is coming out of manhole. Ah, a perfect cover. What a lucky day, said by the sludge villain. Before he could grab Izuku, Izuku has noticed his and jumped forward to dodge from his sludge hands. Seriously, I have been already having a bad day. First Katsuki, and now this, Izuku said to himself. Don't worry, boy. I will hurt for a few seconds. Then I will take over on your body, and then everything will fine, said by the villain. Sludge makes a second attempt to capture Midoriya in sludge, but he dodges again and ran toward the garbage can and picked it up. Hey, shitface, Izuku made a comment on him, which made him angered and charged toward him. You little sludge villain, throw his sludge toward him, but Izuku sidestepped and dodged from his attack, and threw the garbage can on his face, and it hit on its aim toward his head. It made him distract a little bit from Izuku. Now, I think it's time to get serious, said by Izuku. Then he rolled up his right hand side sleeves, which reveal his dragon bracelet, which eyes were shining, and his arm was wrapped with bandage. Tie. No fear, because I'm here. Before Izuku could complete his word, he heard a voice which was coming behind from sludge villain, and then he heard SSSSSMMazabash. A punch came right behind the villain back, and when it hit, it released a strong wind pressure, which made him splattered around the wall, and when the person who punched him was come in front of him, it gave Izuku a shock of the lifetime, because the person who was standing in front of him was his ideal, his hero, his inspiration. The All Might? Oh my God, holy shit. Am I dreaming? Because if I'm, then please Kami, don't wake me up from this dream, thought by Izuku, who was stuck in shock and staring at him. All Might then pulled out an empty bottle from his bag, and stuffing the main body of sludge villain into it, to easily carry him toward the police, and then walk toward him. Are you fine, kid? All Might asked Izuku, who snapped out of his trace. Why, yeah, I'm fine, sir, Izuku said in excitement. Oh my God, All Might. I'm Izuku Midoriya, your big fan. I have seen your all fight scenes, and also your rescues mission, said by Izuku. Then he start looking left and right. Where's my notebook, thought by Izuku. While searching, he saw his notebook near the garbage bin. While dodging, he dropped his notebook. He ran toward it, and then picked it up and cleans it, and the walk toward All Might. "Sir, autograph please," said by Izuku with his notebook. "Oh sure," said by All Might, sign and autograph in his notebook. "Thank you," Izuku gushed like a fanboy meeting his idol. "Ha ha ha, mention not kid. I'm glad you're fine. Now I'll have to go," said by All Might, and they get in position to take a leap. "Wait, All Might, I have a question." "Sorry kid, gotta go." Then All Might took a giant leap in the air. While in the air he feels some weight on his feet when looked toward his feet. "What the? Kid, what are you doing? Let me go." "Sorry sir, I can't if leave you right now then. I'll fall downward sir." "Oh you're right kid." The All Might and Izuku land on the building terrace. After landing, Izuku leave his feet and then took a deep breath. "I could have just unload you downstairs. But seriously, I don't have time kid," said by All Might, and he was about to take another. "Sir, wait." "No, I can't." Before All Might could leap, Izuku asked a question, an important question which would change his whole life and give him a new goal in his life. Can someone who's quirkless become a hero? It made him stop and glance toward Midoriya. Izuku closed his eyes and said, "Can a quirkless person become like you someday?" "You're quirkless." Before he could complete his word, he felt a gush, and then steam started evaporating from his body. "Oh no, not now." "Yes, sir, I'm quirkless and people make fun of me, but I always ignored them," and before Izuku complete his sentence, poof, a small smoke eruption occur where All Might were standing. "All Might, are you fine?" Izuku asked in worry. When the smoke cleared, he saw a very skinny person standing in place of All Might. "What the fuck?" That was Izuku's reaction while seeing him. And then All Might explained his whole story of his fight against Toxic Chainsaw, and shown his injury which caused him loss of his stomach and half of his respiratory system, and his wounds on his chest, which caused him to use his power and maintain his form for only 3 hours. As a pro, I always laying his or her life on the line. So I just can't bring myself to tell you that you can do it, even without a quirk. So I'm sorry kid, you can't. When Izuku heard those words, it made him depressed and shocked, because if someone else had spoken those words, then he would just ignore them. But he never thought in his life that his own ideal will say these words. It really broke his heart, and only one word were ringing which came from All Might. "You can't. You can't. You can't. It's good to see dreams, but it should be achievable kid," All Might said, and then walled downward with stairs, and Izuku was stuck in there like a statue, and his hair were covering his eyes. All Might walked downward on the stairs. Now to drop the villain to the All Might thought, while placing his hand on his pocket for bottle. When he put on pocket, he noticed that the bottle was not in his pocket. What the All Might said to himself, then he heard an explosion. Oh shit. Time skip a few min. Izuku walking on his path toward home with a depressed face, while looking at his notebook, and then he took a deep sigh, and all the words were said by All Might said to him. "I can't believe that All Might, the no. One hero, the kindest and most brave person, out of all people would say this to me," Izuku think while. "No, so what if he doesn't believe in me? I will prove him, and the whole world that quirkless can also become a great hero," Izuku thought boomum asterisk. The sound of explosion occur, which snap out Izuku from his thoughts. "What's happening over there?" Izuku thought, while looking at the crowd which was forming there. When Izuku ran toward the crowd, he saw the sludge villain. What the? How did he escape from All Might? Izuku looked that Kamui Woods, Mount Lady and Death Arm were present there, but none of them trying to stop. Why are all the heroes are standing still? The guys got some middle-schooled hostage. Oh shit man, he or she might be in excruciating pain, man thought by Izuku, while he trying to go through the crowd. When he gets to the front, he saw all 3 heroes were standing still, and no one is trying to save the hostage. When he looked at the face of hostage, he saw someone who he never expected it. It was Katsuki Bakugo. Oh come on, what the hell is wrong with this guy? Thought by Izuku. Come on guys, we gotta control the damage. Somebody will come soon for it, said by Kamui Woods. I feel sorry for that kid, but he'll hold out a little longer, said by Mount Lady. Shit. If only we had a power that could blow him away, said by Death Arm. Izuku was hearing their conversation, and he really wanted to smack his own head with his gauntlet, because at first he thought they were the greatest hero, but now it's just looked like he was wrong. They were just some sissy cowards who were hiding behind their hero status. Because when it comes to say cool dialogues or showing off, then these guys are no one, but when it comes to do actual hero job, then they are zero. And then he looked toward Katsuki, he saw a terror. Terror of death. And in terror, he was losing explosion from his palm, which caused fire around him. At first his mind was telling him to leave Katsuki on his state, because he bullied him and also make fun of his dreams and goal. But then he remembered his sensei words. Never let your personal feeling interfere in your hero life. Then Izuku took a deep sigh, and he lowered his bag from his shoulder. Well, he rolled up his both sleeves, which show his both arms were covered with bandages. It's looked like, when he untied his bandages, it shows weights bands which were tied on his arms. He unclipped his weights and put them in his bag carefully. I have to take the matter in my own hands. Izuku do some arm stretching and the walk forward. Hey, look. What the? Kid, come back. Idiot. What the hell are you doing? The Crowd and the heroes were yelling at him, but he was ignoring them. All Might was also standing there in the Crowd. What the hell is he doing? That brat, said by Sludge Villain in angered way. Take this, yelled by Sludge, while shooting his sludge tentacles on him. Look out, yelled by the heroes. The tentacle were inch away from his body, but instead of fear, he gave a smirk on his face. Huh, too slow, bitch, said by Izuku. Before it could reach him, Izuku blurred out like a ninja using Shushin. What was all Sludge Villain could said, because he didn't feels anybody in his tentacles. And then he saw Izuku was in air, not flying, and then put his right wrist forward and yell. Carrier blade, wind form. A mini wind sphere covers his body. You think you can beat me with these child tricks, said by Sludge Villain, and he shot again his tentacles toward the sphere. But when it reached the sphere, he heard a voice. Wind style, vacuum blade. A sword came out, and it slashed his tentacles 12 times per second, and he chopped them in small pieces. And it's not only shocked the villain, but also the heroes and the audience who were watching their match. So fast was only word came out from their minds. When the sphere vanished, it showed Izuku, but his hair color turned from green to gray, and also his eyes color. Izuku standing there with his sword in Seigen stance. It's show time, said by Izuku. Izuku rushed toward him with his blade. Sludge Villain tried that same trick again, but like last time Izuku cut through them and rushed toward him. I can feel it. Just a little bit more, thought by Izuku. When he reached near the Sludge Villain. Carrier blade. Return, Izuku said, and the carrier blade turned into energy orb, which was consumed by his dragon bracelet. And then he yelled, Taijutsu Gauntlet Wind Mode, Izuku said, while joining his fists together, and then a gold emerged from his bracelet and moved on his arm and feet. When the light died, then his feet were covered in gray color metal boots and his hand were in gray gauntlet. You little vacuum palm. Izuku thrust his palm on Sludge Villain, which made him distract for a little bit of time. This gave him a chance to save Katsuki's life. Without wasting any time, Izuku grabbed Katsuki's arm and tried to pull him out. Deku, what are you doing? That was dumbest thing that he has ever asked. I'm saving your ass, you dumbass, Izuku said, and with all his might, he pull him out of Sludge grasp and throw him toward Death Arm, and he catch him. No, my perfect cover. Then he looked toward Izuku. It's all happened because of you. I'm gonna kill you, Sludge Villain said with venom and angered in his voice, and charged toward him, but he dodged. Sorry, but I'm not in mood of dying today, so. Izuku, then return his gauntlet and call his carrier blade, and then he focus. Come on. You can do I Izuku self-motivate himself. Sludge notice him standing still with closed eyes. Sludge villain didn't waste any time and charged toward him in intent to kill him. Look out, all the audience yelled. That's it, All Might thought, and was about to transform in his buff form, but then. Let's go, Izuku yelled, and then his sword shine in gray color, and his sword size get increase, and then it open like Chinese fan with blade on its edge. Die sludge monster didn't stop. Ha, sayonara, dipshit. Izuku pull the fan in baseball batter position, and then yell. Cyclone style. Great breakthrough. A strong gust of wind came from the fan. If you think Detroit Smash make powerful gust of wind, then think about it again, which blew the villain and made him spat on the wall, and then everything gets silent. A pin drop silence. Why? Because they were in shock. What just happened? So powerful. What kind of powerful does he have? Was all the thought they were thinking. But they didn't know that it was a quirkless that beat him without any quirk. Izuku turned around toward the crowd who were cheering and applauding for him. It's give him some confidence to achieve his dream and goal, and also it's remind him his sensei one of his favorite quotes. Great hero is not that person who can easily beat 1,000 villains with one move. Great hero is that person who could only beat one villain, but at least he can save and bring smile on a face of single person. But in Izuku matters, he gave smile more than one person. Before Izuku moved toward his bag, a big arm grabbed his shoulder and pull him. Are you crazy? What the hell were you thinking while pulling that stunt? Scolded by Death Arm. I was doing that job what you were supposed to do, said by Izuku innocently. And then, the conversation turns into debate between heroes and Izuku, while media was praising Bakugo. For what? Showing some damn flashy quirk, but none of them mentions Izuku's name, who saved his sorry ass. But it doesn't matter to Izuku, because he didn't did it for fame or money. He only saved him because his heart and gut feeling tells him to save him. After getting in a long debate, in which Izuku was clearly winning, he asked a question. Okay, if you're getting problem from my interfering, then why didn't you took an action on him before me? Because we didn't have correct quirk. Before Kamui could complete his sentence. Bullshit, Izuku screamed, which also drawn media and Bakugo attention toward him. If you had worked as a team, you could easily saved him. But no, you can't. Why? Because you only want fame, show off in front of people. You don't give a damn if he would die or not. Right, Izuku said last line in furious way. Now please excuse me. I have to, mom would be getting worried for me, Izuku said politely and moved forward. But he stopped for a second and gave a glance toward them. Try to pay attention on my words. It would be good for you. Izuku walked toward his bag and picked it up and moved forward on his path to home. But he didn't realize that All Might was looking at him and his skinny mode was looking at him. Maybe he's the one thought by All Might. Izuku was walking on his way to when heard a voice. Hey, kid. Izuku turned around toward the voice, and he saw All Might in his skinny form running toward him. But this time Izuku was not in his happy mood. I mean, come on. If your idol broke your lifelong dream, then you would feel bad, not happy, bro. What you want now? Is there anything left to stay? Said in neutral voice. Midoriya, I'm truly sorry about what I have said to you. I was just having a bad day, and also I was at the end of my limit. So I didn't have time to think while responding you. I shouldn't have said what I said. I truly failed at my job as the symbol of peace. But now I feel that you could be a hero. Really, said Izuku said with a ray of hope in his eyes. Maybe All Might was not that bad as he thought. Yeah, after see your quirk in that fight, said by All Might. All hope were shattered when All Might says that so he think that I can only be a hero if I have a quirk. Izuku thought, put his head down. But also I have a deal for you. Izuku looked toward him. Deal. You see lots of people trying to solve the mystery of my quirk, right? Well, my quirk is called One for All. My power is like a sacred torch passed down to me by my teacher, and I would like to pass it to you." When Izuku heard those words, he thought if it was passed down by his teacher. Then he took a gasp. He was quirkless. He was a damn fucking quirkless. Like me. Izuku was trying his hard to control his anger. That bastard. How dare him to say me that kind of shit, that quirkless people can't be a hero. Because he was also a quirkless. Izuku hair covered his eyes. "So, what do you say, kid?" All Might said while offering his hand. Izuku stilled without any reply, and his eyes were still covered. Maybe he's in a shock, thought by All Might. After a long silence, "All Might," Izuku said, while still his eyes were covered. "Yes." Izuku looked toward him. If you only see his face, then it would show neutral expression. But in his eyes you can see the fire of rage. And then he said those words that All Might never expected. "Fuck you," Izuku said, and then there was silence. "What?" was only word which came out of his mouth. "Yeah, you heard me, fuck you, and get the fuck out of my sight," Izuku finally snapped and yelled at him. "Midoriya, listen. No, you listen to me. Is it any kind of joke to you? Or is it look like a third-grade soap opera show, huh? That first you will break my dreams and my goal, and then came back to me and apologies to me, and you think I'm a 5-year-old child, whose mood gets swing by getting a candy? Oh hell no, sir. At first when I met you, I truly respect you 100%. But when you told me that I can't be a hero, that percentage fall to 49%. But I thought with your POV, and then I thought that you were trying to worried about me because of your injury. But now after hearing that you were also a quirkless like me, and trying to bribe me by your quirk, it has fall to 5%. Sir, said by Izuku in angered tone. Izuku, please, try to listen me, I am not trying to bribe. Enough, sir, enough. Do you know why I'm still calling you sir? Because there's still 5% of respect for you left inside in me, sir. So please kindly leave me alone, and don't try to follow me. Because next time maybe that 5% will be erased from me, Izuku said, and turn around. But he stopped and said, "Oh, and by the way, I'm still quirkless, sir, and I will the world that a quirkless can also be a hero. Believe that." The Izuku walk on his way to the home, leaving a speechless All Might behind. Am I really that bad hero? All Might questioned himself. Midoriya apartment. Izuku walked in his home. "I'm back, Mom." "Welcome back, son, how's your day?" Izuku walked in living room, put his bag on the table. "Well, it was a little bit stressful. Go take a shower, I placed the dinner." "Okay." Izuku walked in the bathroom and took a shower. After taking shower, he changed his cloth and walked forward toward his PC. Izuku searched about population and the incidents happening. And when he searched, he saw that in Japan, there are 20% of population who are quirkless and incident department. He saw that in Japan's suicide cases that 60% of peoples were quirkless and 35% of those whose quirk was or looked like villain. Wait. What Izuku thought while reading about the villain quirk. I can't believe it, man. What the hell is villain quirk? It sounds so stupid. I mean, quirk is not evil. It's depend on the user's intentions, thought by Izuku. After getting researched on it then, Izuku realized that this society always treat quirkless like low caste or like germs, and same with those villainous quirk. Seriously, these types of people thinking is so stupid and primitive. And then he thought, if I became a hero, then maybe I could be the voice of the quirkless, and those whose quirk looks like evil. Maybe I could bring a change. No, not maybe. I will bring the change. I will become their voice. I will become the movement of this revolution. Now this is my new goal, Izuku said to himself, and then he moves toward his shelf and picked up a chart paper and a sketch pen and draws or writes something on it. This is my new goal, Izuku said to himself, and then stick it on the wall with cello tape. This is my, Izuku said, while looking on his chart on which he has written in big, bold. Project 20%. Time skip 10 months. Midoriya walking on the street with a little smile on his face. Why? Because today is the day for taking a step toward his dream, to take a step toward his goal, and a powerful step for his movement project 20%. In these last 10 months, lots of things happen. He finally mastered his wind blade fan and also its power. He also reached to unlock his other element weapons, and also he doubled his training, and also creates some his own maneuver moves, which were inspired by animes. After a long walk, Izuku finally reached his destination. A high school. My journey's first chapter starts now, Izuku thought with a smile, while looking at the entrance gate, and then he closed his eyes and thought, I hope you were watching me, sensei. Today your student is going to take his first step to become a hero. Deku. Izuku interrupted from the voice and took a deep sigh, and then took a deep breath and turned toward the direction and saw Katsuki was standing with a pissed and angered look at his face. Why? Because after saving him and revealing his powers, Katsuki started challenging and irritating him by asking question about his quirk, and also putting allegation on about that he was hiding his quirk for a long time, and he was mocking him by keep secret from him. But Izuku never pay any heed to it, and always ignore him, or just say, huh? Did you say something to him? And if he tries to get aggressive or try to attack on him, Izuku just give him his normal combo of punches and kick to neutralize him, and still he never use his power against him because of his own code. Get the fuck out of my face, Deku, Bakugo said with a pissed tone, but it didn't affect Izuku a single bit. Izuku stand there with a neutral expression, and then he cleaned his ears and said, huh, did you say something? It made Bakugo more pissed. He wants to attack on him, but he tried to control his anger and walk away from him. Izuku just give a smile toward him, and then him look toward the entrance gate. This is it, Izuku said to himself, and lift his right foot forward, my first step toward being a hero. But before he could take another step forward, he got tripped. With his own foot. Oh, come on. Are you fucking kidding me, Izuku thought, while falling, and he closed his eyes for waiting him getting crashed. But he didn't. Instead of falling, he starting floating in air. Huh. And before he could float more, his hand was caught by someone asterisk. Asterisk spark asterisk. Izuku feels a spark in his whole body, and his heartbeats start getting higher. You all right? Asked a feminine voice to him. When he looked toward her, he was stunned for a moment while looking at her. He saw a girl at his same age, short auburn color hair and eyes, and their only one word was ringing in his mind. Am I in heaven? Kami, she's so beautiful. She released her quirk and helps him to stay on the ground. Sorry for going crazy with my quirk there. I just think it'd have been a bad omen if you tripped, you know? She said non-stop with a smile. And our Izuku Midoriya was already strike out from her smile, and his face was red as tomato, and he was trying to say something. Come on, Izuku, she's talking to you. Come on, answer her. Man, Izuku thought to himself while trying to speak to her. I'm so nervous. Bet you are too, she said with a cute smile. But our hero couldn't even speak a single word out of his mouth. Huh, ah, ooh, were the only words were coming out from his mouth. Well, good luck later, she said while walking toward the entrance gate. And then finally Izuku built some courage and answered her. Yeah, see you later, Izuku said while hesitantly. She turns toward him and gives a 1,000-volt of smile to him and then walk forward. Izuku was standing there like a statue for a few seconds and thinking while his hand was on his heart and his heartbeats getting higher and looking toward the entrance with a goofy smile on his face, and only one word came out of his mouth. Wow. Scene change. Izuku was sitting in hall with other examiners who came for entrance. Welcome one and all to my live show. Everybody sat easy, said by Present Mike. But no one answered him. Whoa, tough crowd, said to himself. I've got shivers down my spine, too, listeners. All right, examinees, I'm gonna give low down on how this'll low down. Are you ready? Yelled by Present Mike, but still he didn't get any response from them. Present Mike then proceeded to explain how the exam would work, the television behind him playing to help illustrate his point. There were 7 examination sites, meaning they would all be randomized into different sites, and he was using Super Mario Bros. Villain to help illustrate the grading system. After the explanation, a student who asked about the fourth robot villain, and then present Mike explain him about fourth villain, that it's a zero-pointer bot. It won't be necessary to fight against it, and tried to avoid it. The student asks for apology for his rudeness and sits back on his seat. Then present Mike looked toward the student and said, "Well, that's enough from me. I'll give you listeners a present, our school motto." The hero Napoleon Bonaparte said, "A true hero is someone who overcomes life's misfortune." Now beyond, plus ultra, said by present Mike. As they all beamed to exit the auditorium and into their assigned buses, Izuku managed to find that same girl who talked to him at the entrance. The girl looked toward him. "Hey," she said with a cheerful voice. Hi," Izuku said nervously, while blushing a little, and thought, "What's wrong with me? Can I sit there?" "Yeah, sure." Izuku moved toward the seat and sit beside her. "Hi, my name is Ochako. Ochako Uraraka," said by her in cheerful voice. "Oh, nice to meet you. And you must be Deku, right?" Izuku froze for a second after hearing that name and then asked, Uraraka-san, where'd you hear that name?" asked by Izuku. From that spiky blonde kid earlier at the entrance. He was kind of loud, and it was easy to overhear his word. So I kind of assumed that it was your name," Ochako said with question look. "Oh, no, it's not my name. My name is Izuku Midoriya, and Deku is just an insult name which was given by him." "Oh, Gomasai. I didn't know it was an insult." "To me, Deku felt like you can do anything," Ochako said. After hearing it, first time in his life, someone said that Deku was not insult name and also shows its positive side. Izuku smiled and said, "You know what? I think you're right, and I don't mind if you call me Deku." "Really?" Ochako asked. "Yeah. Thank you, Deku-kun," Ochako said with her powerful, cute smile. "She's an angel without any doubt," Izuku thought, while blushing and smiling toward her. "And I don't care whatever other says, but Ochako has the cutest smile in the entire anime community, except Hinata." After getting out of bus, Izuku and Ochako, they were still talking to each other. "Man, I'm so nervous, Deku." "Don't worry, Uraraka-san. My sensei used to say that when you feel nervous, just think about your parents or loved one. It helps to reduce the tension, or you can listen or sing your favorite song," said by Izuku. Thanks for advice, Deku-kun," Ochako said with a smile. Izuku chuckled a little before a hand descended down on his shoulder. Izuku looked back to see the same examine who questioned present Mike about fourth bot. "What are you doing here?" demanded the student. "This isn't some field trip or some sort of park. Are you here to hinder others from doing their best in exam?" Izuku shrugged his hand of his shoulder and said, "Chill out, man, and also please put your voice volume down, because it would distract other examines," Izuku said in cool tone. Before he could counter back Izuku, a voice rang out. "Begin." As the door suddenly flung open, many of the examines stood at there in completely confused state, except Izuku. Izuku turned toward Ochako and said, "Uraraka-san, see you in exam." Before Ochako could reply to him, Izuku charged forward with his right hand forward and yell, "Taijutsu Gauntlet, lightning form." Izuku bracelets start shining in yellow color, and then a yellow lightning cover his body. When lightning died down, Izuku was in his gauntlet and boots in yellow color, with lightning marks on them, and his hair and eyes were in yellow color. And imagine Super Saiyan mode, but instead of golden aura, his body was covered with yellow lightning. Examines were amazed with his transformation. "Deku-kun," Ochako said. Izuku turned toward her and gives a peace sign, and then, "Extreme speed," Izuku yelled, and his whole body starts getting covered with lightning and charged toward the Stimulate City with speed of lightning. All of them were standing there dumbfoundedly, and they heard present Mike screech, "What the matter? There's no such thing as a countdown in a real battle." When present Mike announced that, everyone began cheering forward to the exam site. Izuku was already ahead from everyone. When he entered in the city, he saw 2 one-pointers and a 3-pointer on his way. Well, today is my lucky day, Izuku said to himself. Target acquired, granted for execution, said by the robots, and point their laser toward high. Izuku just smirked, and then first dashed toward the one-pointer who was standing in front, and before they could shoot him. Thunder punch, Izuku yelled, and punched the first one-pointer bot, and without stopping or losing his momentum, he dashed toward the second one-pointer bot, and did a 360 spin in air and then lightning kick, Izuku yelled, and kicked the bot with lightning charge kick, and then landed on ground and put his arm in cross formation and yelled. Lightning charge, Izuku charged with lighting-covered body toward the 3-pointer bot and rip it from middle. After hitting them, all robots stopped moving and sparks were coming out from them. Izuku took few steps forward, and then he stopped, and then he snapped his fingers. When he snapped his fingers, all 3 robots start sparking, and then it explode and turn into dust. Huh, that was easy, Izuku said, after saying that more bots start coming toward him with same dialogue. Target acquired, granted for execution. Huh, let the fun begin, Izuku said, while standing in monkey stance and charged toward them. After few minutes, the whole crowd came to the ground, which was filled with broken or destroyed robots, and what they saw next was an unbelievable sight which shocked them. Izuku was destroying the robots like they were made paper for Izuku. He was running toward the bots, but for the other peoples they can only see a streak of yellow light, which was moving left and right, destroying the bots who try to attack on him, and then he stopped after destroying every single one. Okay, so after destroying the last one, I got 21 points. Not bad, Izuku said to himself, and then looked toward the crowd who were standing there and shocked. Come on, slowpokes. You guys are here to fight, not for watching the show, Izuku said, and then dashed forward for more bots. The guy who was lecturing him outside, who also known as Tenya Ida, was shocked with the destruction and his speed. So fast, Ochako, who's standing there with an amazed look and little bit blush on her face. But she quickly came out from her state and then ran to the other direction for the bots. Meanwhile, in the observation room, the staff of Ahai was monitoring the situation in sights with a very large and wide screen with multiple windows and monitoring the students to pass their judgment. Quite a crop this year, isn't it? Noted a female with husky tone that would make many men fall prey to it. Yeah, especially that kid, said by the person while pointing toward the screen, which shows the footage of Izuku destroying the bots. Whoa, that kid is a monster. But he got style. And then they saw Izuku's body started shine in gray light. Back to exam. Izuku saw he was surrounded by 4 3 and 3 2-pointers bots. Well, looks like it's time hit the gear, Izuku said to himself. Taijutsu gauntlet. Wind form, his body starts shining, and then his gauntlet, boot and his hair and eye color changed from yellow to gray. And then he returned his gauntlet back in his bracelet, and then he summoned his sword, which was shining brightly, and then it convert into his new weapon. Wind blade fan. Izuku put the fan on his shoulder and looked toward the bots and said, "This is your last chance. If you want to leave, you can, but if you fight, I'll promise you that your body parts would found in dumping ground next day." But the bots didn't listen and said the same line, "Target acquired, granted for execution." Huh, well, I did warn you, said by Izuku while getting in position. All the bots charged toward him when they reached in the range. Izuku grabbed his fan in batting form. Cyclone style. Razor slash, Izuku yelled, while spinning 360 with his fan, and it released wind slashes which easily cut through the bots like hot knife from butter, and they all fall apart in slices and burst. Now that's make total 39 points, and I need 60 points to pass it, Izuku said to himself, while thinking, and then his instinct kicked in, and then he ducked from the laser which was shoot by the one-pointer bot. But before it could shoot again, Izuku turned around and said, "Wrong move, buddy, cyclone style, great breakthrough." The pressure hit the bot, which sent him flying toward the building, and it crashed on it and explodes. And now my score is total 40. Just 20 more for breaking his record, Izuku said himself and walked forward. A high observation. Everyone were shocked by the scene of Izuku. What the hell was? Now I'm 100% sure this kid is a monster. At first, I thought his quirk was lightning, but now he used wind power. Man, who is this kid? But the most shocked person was All Might, who in his skinny form. Midoriya Shonen All Might thought, while thinking the same thing that kid told him 10 months ago. Oh, by the way, I'm still quirkless, and I will prove the world that a quirkless can also be a hero. Believe that. Those were always ring in his ears, said by the boy, and also this thought that if Midoriya Shonen is quirkless, then how did he get these powers? Before he could thought more, a voice interrupted him. All Might, I think it's time for the next session of test. Huh, oh yeah, All Might said, while he flicked open the protective barrier covering the red bottom and pressed it. The real test just being. After few minutes, Izuku destroyed few bot, and now his score is 57. Just 3 more points to break it, Izuku thought. 3 minutes are left, shouted Present Mike to remind them. Izuku quickly pulled out his watch and set a timer of 3 minutes, and when he took a step forward felt the ground rumbled and shaken. Earthquake, Izuku thought, and when looked toward the direction he saw a gigantic robot. Are you fucking kidding me, Izuku thought while looking at the bot, and then he remembered that 4th bot is a 0-pointer, and it will not give any point, just try to avoid it. Izuku ignored the bot, and thought I have find the 3-pointer bot quickly, and then he looked at his watch, and saw only 2.5 min left. Just as he was about to turn around, he heard a voice. Help me, oh. Izuku know that voice and turn around, and he saw Ochako struggling to get out from the wreckage because her right foot was stuck, and he also saw other examiners who were running, but none of them helping her. What the hell is wrong with them? Why aren't they helping her? Izuku questioned himself, while looking at the crowd who were running instead of helping, and then he remembering the events. Sorry for going crazy with my quirk there. I just think it'd have been a bad omen if you tripped. You know, Izuku was remembering her kindness, and also she was first girl at his age who talked to him nicely and also show the positive side of his name. Not on my watch, Izuku said, while his hair covering his eye. A high observation. The staff was watching the scene. All kids were running away from the 0-pointer, and also watch a girl was stuck under the broken piece of bot. Yagi-san, please stop the 0-pointer, principal order him, while looking at the condition. Toshinori Yagi aka All Might nod on the response of the principal, and he was about to press the abort button the heard a voice. Not on my fucking watch. That voice belongs to Izuku Midoriya, who was toward the 0-pointers. Izuku was running toward the bot with full speed, and he didn't release his weight yet. The bot pulled his arm backward, and then thrust toward Ochako to crush her. Ha, ah. Ochako screamed in terror and closed her. Taijutsu gauntlet, rock form. Izuku body shine, and his gauntlet, boots. His eyes and hair color changed in earth brown color and rushed forward. Ochako path. I was stuck under the wreckage of the robot part, and I tried to come out from it, but my left foot was stuck, and also I can't use my quirk due to exhaustion. I cried for help, but no one came to help me. Then I saw the giant robot standing behind me, and he was about to crush me with his fist, and then I screamed, and then I closed my eyes, and then started thinking about my mom and dad. But also I saw the image of Deku. I don't know why, but when I started talking to him, I feel so warm and comfortable with him. I just don't know why, but feel good while talking or staying around him, and we just met this morning, but it feels like I know him for a long time. I waited for the robot punch, but it never came to me. Then I just opened my eyes, and what I just the sight just blow my mind. Deku was only word came out of my mouth. Normal puff. Izuku ran toward the bot, and before the robot's fist could smash Ochako, Izuku catch his fist and stop him on the track, But the bot was still applying force on him, and you can easily see that Izuku was also a little bit getting struggled to hold him back. Izuku heard Ochako behind him. Izuku just turned his head toward her and said, "Don't worry, Uraraka-san, not gonna let this tin can hurt you," Izuku said, struggling while holding and pushing his arm back. And then Izuku looked forward and yelled, "Because I'm here." And he pushed back his arm, and then he pulled his right arm backward and yelled, "Rock smash!" Izuku right arm gauntlet shine, and he smashed his punch on the same arm of Robot and burst Robot right arm. This sight shocked Ochako and other students who were standing there and watching him. What a power was the only thought coming in their mind. When he burst Robot's arm, the 0-pointer get mobilized for a second, which gave Izuku a chance to save Ochako. When then Robot got mobilized, Izuku picked the piece of bot from her foot, and then Ochako tried to stand, but she fell and Izuku checked her foot. It was fractured. Then, without wasting any time, Izuku picked Ochako in bridal style and walked 50 m away and placed her near the building. "Are you fine?" Izuku asked in concerned way. "Yeah." Ochako tried to answer her, but the emerged in her feet stopped her, and Izuku examined her foot, and turns out it was a simple fracture. Before Izuku could answer, a loud crashed, and both turned toward the source of sound, and they saw the pointer start moving forward, and he was moving toward them. Target acquired. Granted for execution. "Come on, man, don't you have any other dialogue, say?" Geez, Izuku thought while looking at him, and then looked toward Ochako. "Hey, Uraraka-san, how many points did you earn?" Izuku asked. "Good." 45 points. "Good," Izuku said, and then he started walking toward the robot. "Wait, where are you going?" "Just finishing my unfinished work," Izuku said, and started walk toward him. And then the slow walk changed into speed walk, and then he started sprinting toward him, and he ignored all yell to stop him. "Taijutsu Gauntlet. Fire mode," Izuku yelled, and then his appearance turned in his fire mode. His gauntlet and boots colors turned into fierce red color with fire symbol on them, and also his hair and eye color turned into red color. The pointer bot threw his right fist toward to crush him, but Izuku jumped and the robot punch crashed on the ground. But Izuku started running on bot's right, and when he reached near it face, then he jumped toward his face and pulled his right arm backward. "This one for Ochako," Izuku said in his mind, and his right fist start blaze with fire and shining in red color. "Fire style, Red Hawk," Izuku yelled and punched the bot and sent him flying backward, and then it exploded. Izuku landed perfectly on his feet, and then he looked toward his watch. "Shit, only 15 seconds left. I need 3-pointer bot, and my energy reserve also getting low." Izuku was padding hard for constantly and non-stop fighting from last few hours, and then he saw a third pointer who was moving toward Ochako. She was so injured and exhausted that she couldn't move. The 3-pointer bot was about to shoot her with his laser. Ochako tried to drag herself out of it, but she couldn't move far away. Izuku stand in Kamehameha position, and then he concentrates his fire energy in his arm. 10 seconds left, he heard present mic. When the energy filled in his palms. 5 seconds. Fire style, overheat, Izuku yelled, and launched a beam of blazing red toward the robot. When Ochako saw the robot was about to shoot her, she ducked and covered her head with her arm. But the attack didn't came to her. Instead, she heard a loud explosion when she saw toward the bot. She saw a burning metal on the spot of bot. And then she saw Izuku walking toward, and he looked very exhausted. "Deku-kun, did you did that?" Ochako asked, while pointing toward the burned bot. "Yeah," Izuku asked while taking deep breath. "Deku, are you fine?" "Yeah, just a little bit, I'm tired." Ochako then hugged him, which surprised Izuku. "Thank you for saving me twice," she said while crying a little bit. Izuku just put a smile on his face and hugged her back and said, "There's no need to thank me, Uraraka-san. It's my duty," as a hero. Izuku then slumped on her shoulder. Deku, she called him, but he didn't respond him, and instead of response, she heard snoring. He's sleeping, she thought, and then moved him from her shoulder to her lap. Then she looked at his face. A pure, blessed, innocent smile, which can easily melt anyone's heart, and Ochako looked at his face with smile and moved her hand on his hair. Ah, young love. Ochako heard it, and she an old lady walking toward them, and her face was turned red by her statement. No, it not like that. Ochako tried to defend her. Okay, old lady who turns to be recovery girl shrugged the topic, and then she examined both of them, and she used her quirk to heal Ochako fracture, and then her two assistants picked Izuku and Ochako on stretcher and take to the school clinic. Time skip 45 minutes. Izuku woke up in clinic bed and looked around. Deku-kun. Ochako ran toward him and asked, "Are you fine?" "Yeah. You only suffered from minor exhaustion. And also, Miss Ochako, your injury is also healed. You both can leave," recovery girl said, while entering with a clipboard. "Thank you, recovery girl," Izuku said, and then walk out from her clinic. When Izuku walk out from you, then he heard, "Deku-kun." Izuku turned around and saw Ochako walking toward him. "Oh, you're Araka-san. Can I walk with you to the station, and also please call me Ochako?" "Yeah, sure, I mean Ochako," Izuku said, and then start walking on their way to station. After few minutes, they both reached at train station and sat in the train. "You were amazing out there, Deku-kun," Ochako said with smile. Thanks," Izuku said with his face covered with blush. "So, what your quirk, Izuku?" Izuku was froze for a moment and looked toward her and thought. Should I tell her or not? Izuku thought while sweating. What if I tell her that I'm quirkless and then she starts ignore me? No, I don't. She's that kind of person who judge, but Deku. Well, Izuku took a deep breath and said, "I'm quirkless," and then closed his eyes because he couldn't see her reaction on it. Silence. What? But you used those powers in the test. Well. Then Izuku explained about his weapons, their powers, training, and his life story. After explaining it to her, he stays silent with his head down. "If you don't want to talk," before Izuku could finish it. Awesome. What? Izuku looked toward Ochako, and she was smiling. "Yeah, I mean, wow. Izuku, you the coolest person that I have ever met. But it doesn't matter if you have quirk or not. But in the exam you were beating everyone. And also the way you used your powers, it was amazing. Izuku, it doesn't matter if you quirkless. But for me, you are a true hero," Ochako said with a shine in her eyes. Izuku was dumbstruck. And then he smiled and his eyes started filled with tears. Ochako saw his eyes were filled with tear. Izuku, are you fine?" Why, yeah, Izuku wiped his tears. "It's just that. You're first person after my sensei who called me cool for being quirkless." Ochako put her hand on his shoulder as a sign of support, and then Izuku make himself emotional stable. "And also my main goal to become the one hero and prove the world that quirkless can also become a hero." "Whoa, that a good goal," she said. Then Izuku asked her, "Ochako, what's your goal?" Ochako hesitated to answer him, but she did give him his answer. "For money." Izuku was stunned for a moment, but he didn't go to any decision, and he asked, "What?" And she explained about her life and her parents' condition, and also to help her parents in financial way. And after hearing it, he felt so much respect for her. At first he thought she's a nice girl, but now he thinks that she is the purest soul person that he ever met in his life. "I know it's a little bit selfish," Ochako said. "No, I don't think so." "What?" "Yeah, I mean the parents who have done everything for their children. And if their kids want to do something to help their parents, then it's not selfish, Ochako, it's selfless. And those who says that it's selfish, they are just stupid people who don't respect their parents," Izuku said with determination. Ochako looked toward him, and then give a smile and said, "Thank you." Then train stopped and Izuku looked outside. "Oh, my station has arrived. I have to go." Izuku get up from his seat. Then he looked toward her. "See you at the school," Izuku said. "Yeah, you too." Izuku walked outside of the train, and then he saw Ochako waving her arm with happy face. Izuku also waved back and walked on his way to home. "Well, it was a good day. My exam went well. I met a beautiful girl and also became her friend. Well, it's looked like my life is about get upside down." Izuku thought with a smile when he thought about Ochako. "She's cute," Izuku thought. Few days later. Another normal day in Japan, and Izuku always doing his training as normal routine. First, Izuku ran 4 kilometers to the Dagaba beach, which was always filled with metal scrap and garbage. For people's it's just a dumping ground, but for him it's a workout gym. So like his daily basis, Izuku ran to the beach and always cleaned the beach by picking out the scraps like fridge, AC, microwave, etc. And also he found some electronics which were not much broken or defected and repair them. Like last week, he found a small fridge on the beach and repair its wire and used it. Whenever he cleaned the beach, he always feel happy because after cleaning it, the beach looks so beautiful and also the sunset looks so nice from there. But next day, there always someone who throw their metal scrap on the beach. Sometime people never understand the true beauty of nature. After cleaning the beach, Izuku do jogging for 1 kilometer to the abandoned factory. This factory was abandoned from last 5 years, and also no one came here or claims it. So Izuku turns it into his own training ground. In factory, Izuku practice his flexibility by performing some parkour stunts like some flips, slides and running, and also his practice his element training in factory, and also his weapons, and for now. Izuku was single-arm handstand push-ups with his index and middle finger with his eyes closed and chanting only one word. Focus. Focus. Focus asterisk. Asterisk ring ring asterisk. Izuku took a deep breath while his concentration was broken, and then he moved toward his bag and pulled out his phone and water bottle, and he saw her mom's call. Izuku received the call and say, "Hello." "Izuku, it's here," Inko yelled loudly on the phone. "Huh, what's here?" Izuku said while taking a sip of water from his bottle. "Letter from Yue." After hearing it, Izuku spit the water in shock and coughed a little bit. "Izuku," Inko asked worriedly. "Did you open it?" Izuku asked while putting his water bottle in his bag and put his bag on his shoulder while walking outside of factory. "No, I didn't. I thought maybe you should open it." "Okay, I'm on my way." Izuku hung up and put his phone in bag and start running on his way to the home. After 15 minutes, Izuku entered in his house while his whole body is wet with sweat and also patting heavily because he ran the whole way without taking a break. Izuku Inko came to the door while covering her mouth while looking at him because of the smell of his sweat. "Where's the letter?" Izuku asked while untying his shoes rapidly. "It's in your room." "Thanks," Izuku said and ran toward his room and saw a letter. "This is it," Izuku thought while looking at his letter, and his heartbeats were also getting higher. It's not that he doesn't believe that he didn't score well or not, but still it was his result. His fate of his journey. Whatever happened will be seen, Izuku thought while taking a deep breath and opening the envelope. And then he saw a small disc. Izuku thought, then he put the dish on his table, and then it started emit a hologram. Am I on screen? All Might? What the hell is he doing? Izuku thought while looking at the message. Hello, Izuku Midoriya. It's me, All Might. As you can see me, I'm going to be your new teacher in UA. Suddenly, a hand appeared at the lower left of the screen, waving at All Might and tells him to hurry up. What? Get to the point. HMPH. Fine, All Might said, then look forward. For your writing exam portion, you get 82% and also achieved the highest score. An impressive score, and in your practical exam, you earned 60 points, which was impressive, and also you beat my record of 58 points. But there's also one point that I want to indicate to you. Then a footage of the practical examine, which Izuku saved Ochako, and smashing the zero-pointer. When zero-pointer attacked on the student, you were the only person who stepped forward to save her. And this noble and selfless act have reached deeply to our hearts, and indeed, a person with that courage and clean heart is rare. And also, while judging your act, the staff gave you 60 more rescue points, which makes total 120 points, All Might said with smile. Izuku was in shock state, while looking at the message, and only one word was ringing in his ear. He did it. He did it. He fucking did it. A single drop of tear rolled out on his left cheek. Izuku Midoriya, I would like to pronounce you that you have qualified for Hero Department of UA. Good luck and plus ultra. All Might yelled the last word, and then the message ended. There was only silence in his room, and Izuku was sitting on chair and walked outside of his room, and he saw her mom was standing there. Izuku Inko said, while looking at him worriedly because she could saw the marks of tears on his cheek, and his hair were covering his eyes and his face was in neutral expression. Mom. He didn't make it, Inko thought, while looking at him and moved forward to hug him. I did it, Izuku said, which making Ko to halt on track. What? She asked in confusion. Izuku's reaction changed from neutral to a smile, and his eyes were filled with happy tears. I qualified, Mom, Izuku said while crying. There was a moment of silence, and then she ran toward him and gave him a tight hug, and they both were crying in happiness. Well, only Inko was crying, but Izuku was trying to control him, and only tears were coming from his eyes, but he was not crying. A staff room. All teachers and principal were sitting in the room and looking at the scoreboard. First, Izuku Midoriya. 120 points, 60 points on villain, and 60 points on rescue. Second, Katsuki Bakugo, 70 points. Third, Tenya Ida, 52 points. And same the other ranking as the anime. It seems like we have a promising year ahead of us, said by Principal Nezu. Yes, it seems that we have some with powerful capabilities. They certain surpass the last year crops, Vlad King said to him. They all were watching all the footage to re-examine them, but their attention was only one person. Izuku Midoriya. They all were watching the same clip in which he destroyed the zero-pointer bot with one single blow. This kid is interesting, said by Eraserhead, while drinking orange juice and watching the footage. Then he turned toward Present Mike. Show the info about this kid. Present Mike turned toward his computer, and then he pulled out his biodata with his photo. Name, Izuku Midoriya. Age, 15. No criminal or any disability in his medical record. But when he looked at his quirk section, which shocked him and also Present Mike, because he also watching his biodata, and they were staying wide eyes while looking at it. And then Midnight noticed his look, and then slowly every person in the room noticed their reaction. What happened? Vlad King asked to Eraserhead. Eraserhead came out from his shock state and said, Mike, show it on the projector. Eraserhead said to Present Mike. Present typed in his computer, and then Izuku biodata flashed on the projector screen. What happened? Asked by Midnight, while looking at Izuku biodata confusingly. Just read it. Eraserhead said, while looking, and then the whole staff started reading his profile. But when they reached at the quirk line, they all were shocked, same as Eraserhead and Arazawa except Principal Nezu. Interesting, Nezu muttered himself, while look at the screen, because on the screen in his quirk status, there was written, quirkless. After few weeks. Finally the day has come that Izuku has been waiting from his whole life. The day when he took his first step for being a hero. First step to prove them wrong about quirkless, not becoming a hero. The first step for his starting 20%. Izuku was dressed in his new a school uniform, and packing his bag. Izuku, did you pack tissue in your bag? Inko asked. Yes, Mom. Izuku answered her, and then put his bag on his shoulder, and toward the entrance and start wearing his shoes and tying his laces. What about your before Inko could finish her sentence. Yes, Mom. I've packed my hanky, my pen, pencil, sharper, etc. I'm getting late, Mom, Izuku said. Hurry, and then start walking to the door. But before he could open the door, Izuku. What? Izuku asked in irritated manner and looked toward her. She just passed a sweet smile toward his son and said, You look super cool. Izuku was standing there for a moment and then gave a smile to her. Thanks, Izuku said, and walked out of his house. And from this day onward, his high school life officially began. High. Izuku was walking on his way to find his class. 1A, where it is man, Izuku said to himself, while finding his class, and he's been finding it for last 10 minutes. Damn, Izuku said to himself, but he didn't notice that a kid walking in front of him, and also that kid was also looked in hurry, and in hurry they didn't notice each other and crashed into each other asterisk. Asterisk D home asterisk. They both fell down on their butt. Oh, the boy said while rubbing his head. Huh. Oh, Izuku immediately get up on his feet and offer his hand to that boy and said, Are you okay? The boy looks at his hand and takes and stands on his feet and said, Yeah, I'm fine, he answers nervously. Izuku looked at the boy. He was same height as him, maybe a little shorter, and black hair, black eyes, and wearing glasses, and he looks normal guy to him, who look a little bit of nervous. Hey, are you fine? Izuku asked, while looking at his nervous face, and also his legs were shaking. Why, yeah, I'm fine, he answered nervously. Izuku wanted to ask more, but then he remembered that he has to find his class. Oh shit, sorry, but have you seen class 1? Izuku asked him. Why, yeah, just take straight, and then turn right. He indicate direction to him. Oh, thank you so much. Izuku start walking on his way, but he stopped and turned toward him and asked, Hey dude. He turns toward Izuku. What's your name? Izuku asked him, and the boy turned toward him. Huh. Izuku looked toward him and say, My name is Izuku Midoriya. What's your? The boy looked toward him hesitantly and said, Kanki Ken. He answered him. Well, it's nice to meet you, Kanki, Izuku said with a smile and walk on his way, but Kanki called him. Wait. Do you know where General Department class? Izuku looked toward him and said, Yeah, just walk straight and second last class is the general class. Thank you. Mention not, Izuku answered him, and both walk on their separate way, but they both don't know that this meeting is not going to be their last meeting. Scene change. Izuku was standing in front the giant door which says, Wanna. This is it, Izuku, across the door. Only few chosen students were sitting there. Only hero student, and also your journey of being hero and project 20%. Starts now. Izuku thought, and also pray the God that everything will be fine. And then he opened the door. Two people. Two people whom he didn't want to see. Two people who always and recently irritate him. And those two people were Katsuki Bakugo and that same glass guy who scolded him on his practical exam, and they both were arguing with each other. Don't put your legs on the desk. Don't you think that's disrespectful toward your classmates? Said by him while chopping his hand in robot way. No, as a matter of fact, I don't think so, Bakugo answered him arrogantly and looked toward him. Which middle school are you from anyway? You 2-bit extra, said smugly. Midoriya just face-palmed by watching them and look upward. Why, God? Why? Izuku mentally asked, and then looked forward. The name is Tenya Ida. I'm from Saume Junior High School, answered by then boy, who's also known as Tenya Ida. Saume, huh? Well, aren't you elite? Seems I've got a reason to fucking end you after all, said by Bakugo. Ida took a gasp of shock by his statement. A reason to end? What nerve? You want to be a hero. Enough, Katsuki. Both turned toward the voice source, and it's belonged to Izuku Midoriya, who was standing there with a bored look. Deku, Bakugo muttered angrily. That guy, said by Ida, and walked toward him. Hello, I'm Tenya Ida from Before Ida could complete it, Izuku cut him and said, "Yeah, I just overheard you, dude," Izuku said with a smile. And then he moved his right hand forward and shake his hand. "I'm Izuku Midoriya. Nice to meet you. Midoriya-san, I want to apologize for my rudeness in the exam." "There's no need for an apology, dude. And also I know that I was also loud at there. But dude, you also stay chill, man," Izuku said. "Thank you." And also, Ida closed his eyes and clenched his fist, and Izuku looked at him worriedly. "I was so blind to it that I completely misread you. I hate to admit that you are the better man," Ida said to him. But Izuku looked at him dumbfoundedly and said, "Huh." Then after few seconds Izuku heard the same angelic and sweet voice that he heard at exam. "Deku-kun." Izuku was struck for a moment and turned toward her. For other classmates, Ochako looks like normal, but from Izuku's view, she looks like an angel who wearing white gown, with white wings and a round ring on her head, and a light was falling on her from heaven. "Deku-kun." Izuku was stuck there, while looking at her and thinking beautiful. "Deku-kun," Ochako said a little bit loudly, and shake him a little bit, which helps her to take out from her state. Hello Ochako-san," Izuku said, while trying to hide his blush, and thinking that even in her school uniform she looks cute. Bakugo was looking toward him with hateful glare, while thinking about incident few days happen. Flashback. Izuku and Bakugo were standing in their middle school principal office, where he was congratulating both of them. "I really feel proud that from our school you two students have qualified UA, and I wish you both good luck and have a bright future." "Thanks for your blessing, sir," Izuku said, while bowing. Principal was the only person from his school who never judge or do any partiality toward him, and he also happy for Izuku for achieving his dream, and Izuku also know that Principal Sir is really happy for him. But Bakugo was not happy with it, and he was standing silently. After leaving the school, while walking in alley, Katsuki tried to grab Izuku's collar from behind, but Izuku acted on his instinct, and before Bakugo could grab his collar, Izuku grabbed his arm and pulled him downward on the ground and grabbed his collar from backside and pinned him on the ground while pulling his right arm backward. And just same like in training camp when Ochako pinned Toga on the ground. Bakugo was shocked with it, while it happened in a blink of moment. Bakugo, seriously man, gets a life," Izuku said in normal tone. "How the fuck did you pass the exam?" "Deku," Bakugo said with anger, and tried to wiggle out from his hold, but he couldn't. "Well, if you really want to ask that, then you can politely ask me about it, and also it's none of your business, Bakugo." And then Izuku leave him from his hold and move forward on his way. Bakugo get up on his feet, and he was about to launch himself at him, but he already left ally, and he couldn't beat him. Flashback ends. Bakugo was giving death glare at him, but it didn't affect Izuku, and he was clearly ignoring him. Izuku started talking with Ochako, and before they could say anything, "If you're gonna hunting for buddies, then do it elsewhere." Ochako turned around, and then Izuku and Ochako both saw a yellow sleeping bag, and in that sleeping bag a guy whose head was out of it with bored expression, and pull out orange juice from his bag, and took a sip of it, and came out from his sleeping bag. It took you 10 seconds to quiet down. "I'm your homeroom teacher," Arizawa shouted. "Pleasure to meet you." "He's our sensei," all students were thinking except Izuku. So the underground hero Eraserhead is going to be our homeroom teacher, Izuku thought, while mentally smirking. Before coming to the school, Izuku has done some little bit of research about the teachers of you. And in his research, he found about Eraserhead, and also about expelling the whole first semester hero department in last year. And also her sensei taught him before the enemy, you should know the strength and weakness of your own comrades and friends. And Izuku also noticed that Arizawa sensei was staring at him with neutral expression, and then put his hand in his sleeping bag and pull out the tracksuit from it and toss it toward Izuku and said, "Wear it immediately and move toward the PE ground," said by Arizawa, and walked out. No sweet talk, no round and round question. Just straight introduction and direct talk on subject Izuku thought. And then smirk, I think I like him, Izuku thought. And then walk toward the changing room with other students. When they reached at the ground, it turns out their sensei is going to take their test. Quirk apprehension test. Then Ochako asked him, "But sir, what about the ceremony? And the guidance counselor meeting? If you want to be heroes, we don't have time for frilly niceties," Arizawa simply answered him. "Sorry, Uraraka-san, but I agree with him," Izuku thought, while looking at the teacher. Arizawa turned toward them and said, "You all understand the school reputation for freedom on campus. Well, that freedom goes for us teacher, too." The whole was standing silently and listening him. "Those activity you know from middle school, where you were barred from using your quirks," Arizawa said. Then he looked toward Bakugo. "Bakugo, how far could you pitch a softball in middle school?" 67 meters, Bakugo replied. Arizawa tossed ball toward him. "Try using your quirk this time around. As long as you don't exit the circle, anything you do is fine," he said to him. "Don't hold back, huh?" Bakugo thinks, while doing the stretching, then pull back his arm, and then throw the ball and yelled, "D." Bakugo used his quirk and shoot the ball in the sky, and after some time Arizawa measured the distance and said, "Before anything else, one must know what they're capable of, and then show the measuring device to the student. This is a rational metric that will form the basis of your hero foundation." In the meter, it shows 705.2 m. And the student started murmuring, 705 meters, unreal. We can really use our quirk now? That's the Department of Heroic for you. Awesome, that looks so fun. Izuku was standing still while looking at his teacher. There's no freaking way that he could let us pass easily. There has to be a twist. Come on, sensei. Please don't disappoint me. And just like God has listened his wish, Arizawa gave the twist. Fun, huh? All student attention was directed to him, except Izuku, because his attention was already on him from the starting. "If you think this is fun then," Arizawa then looked at the student, "any student who came last in this test will be expelled." All students were dropped silent, and only one thought was roaming in their mind. Student who came last will be expelled. Arizawa was looking at their expression. They were looking scared or nervous, except one person. Izuku Midoriya. He was standing still and thinking at the class, "I thought I like him. Scratch that. I love this guy." Izuku gave a smile and thought he is the true teacher because he knows that the true potential only came out when that person something should be put on the line. And by putting our future, he want to test our true potential. Seriously, man, this guy is genius, a true teacher. My new sensei. Arizawa noticed his smile, which was clearly telling him challenge accepted. And then he thought, Izuku Midoriya, who are you? Then Ochako said, "But sir, it's our first day here in this school, and you can't do it. It's unfair." Arizawa turned toward him and said, "Natural disasters, massive accidents, villain attacks, these all things happen without any notice and unexpected. The life of hero is filled with unfairness. And from now on, your next 3 years, all you can expect from your life at you is only hardship. Nothing more, nothing less. And just like our motto say, go beyond plus ultra. This is plus ultra, and I expect you to overcome these trials and climb to the top." Arizawa said with serious tone, and all students were taking it seriously. Now it's time to serious. Izuku thought himself and start doing stretching, while his arms were covered in bandage. Let's see how many of them show their 100%.